Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have some jealous, possessive, and obsessive heroes to share with you. So this is personally one of my favorite heroes to read. I just think it brings this next level dynamic to the romance, to the book, to the story, to all of it, and I personally really enjoy it. So I have a list to share with you. Some of these are books that I recently read. These are probably from the past couple of months, but let's just go ahead and jump in. So the first one I have is What Was Meant to Be by QB Tyler. I feel like this is the epitome of someone who is jealous, possessive, and obsessive. So our main male character, JP, he is a lot older than our female character, Whitney. So the book opens with him getting a wedding invitation to Whitney's wedding that is not to him. And he's like, not gonna happen. So he finally goes home after leaving for 3 years. Now, before he left, him and Whitney had this very forbidden, taboo relationship. JP is Whitney's godfather. Huge age gap. He was there the day that she was born. He is her dad's best friend. So there's a lot of forbiddenness in this. What makes him also like possessive, other than like going home to make sure she doesn't marry this dude because she is his and his alone. He just needed to get his stuff together. He is a literally obsessive and so possessive that when he finally goes home to see her, he's like, you need to let this dude go. It is all about me. I'm the one that's going to take care of you. I'm going to be the one to show you what you're worth, all of that. Like, I'm going to obsess over you. And that's exactly what he does. So this whole story is him just basically kind of groveling to have her back. And I personally loved it. I think personally, this is one of QB Tyler's best books that she's written. It is her new release or her newest release. And I just personally love it. I love this hero. JP is the epitome of that. It's also age gap, forbidden, taboo, jealous, obsessive, possessive hero. This is for you. This is for you. And I will say, if you don't like QB Tyler's other books because their female characters are a little bit younger, she's in her early 20s, but she doesn't act like she is like super young. She actually acts with some maturity, I should say, for being relatively young. So definitely check out this one. The next one I have is Offsides by Avery Keelan. I have been nonstop talking about this book. It is a new adult hockey romance. And I like to say that Chase is kind of like, what's the word? He is possessive. He is obsessive. But the jealousy comes out in like little moments. And I enjoyed this book so much. So this book is a little bit on the longer side. So just know that it's a commitment when you go in. And I will say that Chase and our female character, Bailey, they have this really cool like meeting. So Chase actually plays for her rival college team, hockey team. Her brother and her ex-boyfriend is on one team, the college that she goes to, and Chase is from the rival team. But they meet at kind of like, I'm not a mixer, I don't know what the word is, but they meet and they kind of have this slow like friends to lovers thing. So the rival thing doesn't last long, but basically when Bailey's boyfriend breaks up with her, becomes her ex, everyone kind of like shuns her. Everyone's like, oh, you're not with, someone on the hockey team anymore. Like, I don't know, even her roommates, they're dating other hockey players on the team. So it's kind of like this weird vibe going on. So she finds this really cool friendship with Chase and he takes her on hot chocolate dates and all this stuff like that. Now, he's obsessive because he wants to constantly spend time with her. He's like, I just want to be around her. I want to spend time with her. I want to do things with her. The jealousness comes out and possessiveness comes out when they're on the ice. So when the teams play against each other, like Bailey's ex-boyfriend will throw things like, oh, you want my sloppy seconds or whatever. And Chase goes ballistic. Like, he does not have that. He is all about defending her honor. And I love it because at that point, they're just friends. Like, at that point, they're just hanging out. I don't think they started dating, but it happens too when they're dating. Oh, I love it so much. I love it. Chase is amazing. Now, I personally do not mind discreet covers, but I will always, always, always show the guy cover because I think this is a perfect Chase and I love him so much. So definitely check out this one. The next one I have is Bad Intentions by Ella Frank. So this is a new book that I literally just read recently in February and I loved the audiobook. So this is a first and a duet. The audiobooks are really, really short. They're like 6 hours each. I wish it was one full book, but it just followed the same couple. We have one of our main male characters, Gabe, and the other is Marcus, and they kind of meet at this mixer. So Gabe's roommate works for Marcus's company and Gabe just got a a personal assistant job at a different company. So he goes to this like company thing with his roommate just to like hang out and stuff, kind of like celebrate that he got this job. Well, Marcus is like, who are you? And he basically says the name of his boss because he doesn't want him to think that he's just this 22-year-old personal assistant when Marcus is 20 years older than him. You don't find out that he's 20 years older than him, but he literally, they have a moment at this party, like a public display of affection, if you know what I mean. Affection. After that, he's like, you're gonna come with me for a week, because he finds out the next day who he is. He goes to the office and blah blah blah. So he's basically groveling, and they have this like 1 week that they're supposed to spend together to like make up for not saying who he really is. And it is so explosive, so hot. I really loved it because while Marcus is older by like 20 years, Gabe is an old soul. Like, you really see that he's not like every other 22-year-old. And so Marcus is older, more mature, but he's still like jealous, obsessive, and protective and possessive. And when I tell you, that comes out in like very, not secretive ways, but it's like in a mature way. I don't know how that makes sense. It's just, he's always like, I want you around me. I don't want you being around all these other people. Like, is your roommate into you? Are you into other people? When they go on like kind of like a date in the second book, because I'm reading that currently right now. When they go on a date on the second book, he's like, is this person into you? Is this person into you? And I personally really, really love it. He's constantly thinking like, oh, is there someone else that's gonna want him, or I'm older, and I love it. I think this is like a bonus one. It's not as jealous, obsessive, and possessive as some of the other ones, but it's still there. The next one I have is Fractured Secrets by Haley Jenner. This one is the epitome of jealous, obsessive, and possessive hero. We have our main male character, Enzo, who is actually the mafia boss, and our female character, oh, what is her name? I forgot her name. She is his best friend's sister. Now, this is a sister that just recently came into his life. She's 18 or she's 17 at the time. So it's one of those things that, you know, she hasn't really been in his life that much, but still brother's best friend, or best friend's sister, brother's best friend, whatever you want to call it. Now, they're forced together for about 2 weeks, just like together. But after that period, when their feelings really do develop, I mean, he kind of had this possessiveness just because it's his best friend's sister. So he's like, I got to protect her. Do you know what I mean? But after that, if anyone says anything about her, he's like, I'm going to cut off your tongue. Like, I'm going to cut it out of your mouth if you say anything. I'm going to cut off your fingers if anyone touches her. I'm going to cut off your hands if anyone touches her. Like, she is under my protection and no one needs to touch her. And that is like one of my favorite things, that they will literally hurt someone for the sake of like making sure that she is his and his alone. Now, she doesn't necessarily agree to be his. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like just assuming that she's gonna be his. They have a very back and forth, really good banter relationship, which I personally love. I think that even though he's a little bit older and she's a little younger, she very much acts mature because of things that happened to her in her past. So I mean, I would say while she is young, she doesn't really act young. Sometimes young female characters can bother me, but she did not bother me, and I loved it. I love the banter. I love how they're very much equal. They play off of each other's like energies and stuff like that. Oh, love it. It was such a good and enjoyable read. Highly recommend. The next book I have is one that has gone around Bookstagram quite a bit. It is a new release, and that is Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton. I'm pretty sure this is my first book by Kat Singleton, and I was immediately intrigued by this whole fake fiance situation. And I will say that while this isn't my favorite one to read, I do know a lot of people like it. I just felt like it was a little too long for me. I felt like in the middle it kind of dropped off just a little bit, but that doesn't mean I won't recommend it, because Alex, or Alexander, is literally jealous, possessive, and obsessive. Let me just say, he will do anything to have her. Literally anything. He buys the company she works for just so he can have a meeting with her, just so he can talk to her and say, hey, I am like offering this thing for you to come live with me in New York. I need you to act as like my fake fiance. You know, the board's getting on to me. I have this Playboy reputation, and I just need you to be there for a year. I know that you can do it. Now, plot twist, they've had a little bit of a past. She dated his younger brother. So they have had like a moment in the past together, but then they broke up. The brother and her broke up because he was cheating, but now that she's back, he's like, never mention my brother's name around me or I'm going to literally lose my mind. At one point, they're still talking and stuff like that, and he's like, I will bend you over this table if you mention his name again. And I'm like, oh, okay, like just mentioning the brother's name. I loved it. It was a great time. I love a billionaire romance. I love a fake fiance, fake dating, fake marriage type thing. This was it. Fantastic. The next one I have is A Final Offer by Lauren Asher. Now, out of all of the heroes in this series, Cal is my favorite. It is a thick book, and I know a lot of people have some comments to say that, oh, this book's not that great. I personally have read all the books. I hated the first book. Second book was okay. And this one is my favorite. I feel like it is extremely long. It is a chunky book, but it needs to be this long because Cal has a lot of stuff going on, and Lana has a lot of stuff going on as well. Now, I don't want to mention too much of this book because I know it is a new release. Bloom told a lot of people who got the early copies of this not to mention the tropes, and I didn't get an early copy. I bought this on release day, but I'm not going to mention too many of the tropes other than it is kind of like a second chance. But Cal, we're talking about jealous, possessive, and obsessive heroes, and Cal is that. So when he goes back to this small town, part of the whole thing with this series is they have to do what the will says from their grandfather to get the shares of Dreamland, which is basically Disney. It's like fake Disney. He goes back to the house that he kind of grew up in, and it's in a small town. So it is very much a small town romance, which I wasn't expecting when I read this. And Lana is there staying at the house, and he's like, this is my house. And she's like, no, this is my house. Supposedly, they both end up on the deed. The grandfather leaves the house to both of them, and they're supposed to spend the summer together. And when some people come back into the town, or some people are mentioned from the past, he gets extremely jealous and possessive. He literally side eyes everyone in the town who dares to look at Lana. Love that too. I personally really enjoyed this. I think that Cal, while he has that golden retriever energy, he is definitely possessive. Don't let that fool you. He is adorable, but he's definitely possessive, and I really enjoyed this one. The next book I have is Forever After All by Catherine Amara. So Catherine Amara is actually a new author that I've recently discovered because of Cheyenne at That Tall Book Girl, and when I read this book, I read it in one sitting. I really, really enjoyed this. I think that this is very much a very interesting kind of like arranged marriage of convenience. It's a very interesting marriage of convenience. So Alexander and Elena have kind of grown up together, but they haven't seen each other in years. And he has this moment with Elena at the top of like a rooftop bar type of a thing. And after that, he doesn't realize who she is. She knows who he is. Then he has this idea to kind of propose a marriage of convenience instead of her selling her body, because he's like, you are not going to do that. Like, once he realizes who she is, because technically Elena gives him her middle name, and he doesn't realize who that is because he hasn't seen her in years. The last time we saw her, she had braces and stuff like that. Very much a young person, but now she's definitely grown, a grown woman. And yeah, so this whole marriage of convenience type thing is definitely for both of them. They both get something out of it, but I will say that he is literally, even to his own brother, I mean, he's had things in the past, so it makes sense. There is really good groveling, I would say, in this book that I personally enjoyed. Definitely, I enjoyed it too. He's just one of those things, even with his brother, he's like, you have something going on. And she's like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? Also, this is all fake. So why are you getting mad? And I love that when they don't want to admit to it, but they do. You know what I mean? They do have feelings. I personally really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend this book. I want to read more by her, so if you have a favorite, drop it in the comments down below. But that is my Jealous, Possessive, and Obsessive Heroes. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you pick up one of these books. For a emoji, drop me the kneeling emoji. I'll have it linked in the title if you don't know what I'm talking about, but drop that because I really, really love that emoji. Someone commented on one of my Instagram posts and I forgot that that's an emoji, so drop that. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.